Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we will be reading chapter 6, which is called Mr. Dummy, in which book is Miss Blake is a Flake, by Dan Gutman, and pictures provided by Jim Paylott. Let's dive in and get started. Chapter 6, Mr. Dummy. Beaver Scouting was no fun. While we were waiting for Miss Blake to show up for our next meeting, we were all grumbling. I thought we were going to decorate pumpkins and make popsicle sticks, snowmen, ornaments, said Alexia. I thought we were going to build a race cars out of wood, said Michael. I thought we were going to go splunking, said Ryan. I'm thinking of quitting Beaver Scouts, I told the gang. Me too, everybody agreed. We all stopped talking when Miss Blake arrived. I've heard what you kids said about quitting, she barked. Do you know what they call people who quit? So, know what? Know what? We all asked. Quitters, barked Miss Blake. Well, that made sense. So you're not having fun, eh? Miss Blake barked. You want fun? Next week we're going on an overnight in the woods. It'll be more fun than you've ever had in your life. Yay! We all shouted. But you'll never know what might happen out in the woods, I barked Miss Blake. You've got to be ready for anything. I hope you've studied the part about first aid in the Beaver Scout handbook. I did, shouted the human homework machine. I also took a life-saving class after school. When I get older, I'm going to get a job as a lifeguard. Andrea takes classes and everything after school. If they gave a class in brushing your teeth, she would take that class so she could get better at it. Good job, Andrea, barked Miss Blake. Life throws stuff at you when you at least expect it. You've got to be prepared at all times. Let's say you're in the wilderness. Somebody faints and stops breathing. What do? It's an emergency. You should break some glass, I said, right away. Why would you do that? Asked Miss Blake. My family wasn't at a hotel once, I replied. There was a sign that you should break glass in case of emergency. Miss Blake slapped her own forehead. If somebody can't breathe, you should call 911, said Neil. You're in the wilderness, barked Miss Blake. There's no time to call 911, and you probably don't have cell phone service. Anyway, the correct answer is that you give that person mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I hope I pronounced that right. Okay. Oh no, not that. I've seen mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. It looks a lot like kissing. Miss Blake went to the closet and dragged out a big mannequin. It was the size of a grown-up man. This is Mr. Dummy, she barked. He's not breathing. We've got to do something, shouted Emily, as if Mr. Dummy was a real person. I'll show you what to do, barked Miss Blake. She got down on her hands and knees, tilted Mr. Dummy's head back, pinched his nostrils shut, and started blowing air into his mouth. Gross! I don't know about you, but I say kissing a dummy is weird. Kissing anything is weird, but a dummy is especially weird. That looks hard, said Alexia. I don't know if I could do that in an emergency. Hey, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, barked Miss Blake. Huh? We weren't in a kitchen. What did kitchens have to do with anything? I saved Mr. Dummy's life, barked Miss Blake. He's breathing again. Yay! Everybody shouted. even though we all knew Mr. Dummy was never breathing in the first place. "What do you do if somebody breaks an arm?" barked Miss Blake. "Kiss the boo-boo and put a Band-Aid on it," Emily gasped. "No," barked Miss Blake. "What do you do if a tree falls on someone's head and knocks them unconscious? Punch the tree's face in, I guess?" "No. What do you do if somebody's bleeding out of their eyeballs?" That is gross, and it's 10:20 p.m. right now while I'm reading, and I hope that does not give me nightmares. None of these things is going to wait. What do you do if someone's legs falls off? None of those things is going to happen, said Ryan. "How do you know?" barked Miss Blake. "Stranger things have happened. Did I tell you about that time I was attacked by a bear?" "Yes," we all replied. "You punched its face in." "That's right. Miss Blake taught us what to do in case a coconut falls out of a tree and lands on your head. She taught us what to do in case anybody falls into a pit filled with poisonous snakes. She taught us what to do in case you get a squirrel stuck in your mouth." Andrea was taking notes the whole time. "Okay, I think you kids are prepared for our overnight," barked Miss Blake. "I will see you in the school parking lot Saturday at 1 o'clock. Don't be late." Then we all got on the floor and did the beaver growl. Chapter 7, The Middle of Nowhere. So guys, if you're wondering if I'm not doing the voice, I'm actually tired right now because it's 10:21 p.m. while I'm reading this. I just want to stay up and read for you guys because you're my subscribers and this is the least that I can do for you. Okay. Chapter 7, The Middle of Nowhere. It rained all week. I thought our overnight might be canceled, but on Friday, my parents got a call saying it was on. They drove me to the parking lot, where all the kids were waiting on the bus. "Can I come on the bus to take a few pictures?" my mom asked. "No parents allowed," Miss Blake barked. "Say goodbye." My mom said goodbye, and I climbed on the bus. I sat next to Ryan. We had already decided that we were going to share a tent together. Miss Blake stood up in front of the bus as we pulled out the parking lot. "This is going to be fun," she barked. "Anybody who doesn't have fun will be punished." We drove 1,100,000 miles to some forest. Finally, the bus pulled off to the side of the road, and we got out. There was a sign that warned about forest fires, poison ivy, flash floods, dehydration, and other scary stuff that can happen to you in the wilderness. "Are we going to go splunking?" asked Alexia. "No, we hike," barked Miss Blake as she grabbed a big backpack and pair of binoculars. "I love hiking in nature," said Andrea. "Ugh, hiking and nature are boring. Keep an eye out for bears or the other wild animals," said Miss Blake. "I would not watch out because I would just punch its face in." I'm just kidding, I would watch out. I would be scared too. "I'm scared," said Emily. It would have been cool to see a bear or some other wild animal, but there weren't any animals. There were just lots of trees and rocks and birds, so Miss Blake talked about every tree and bird along the way. What a snooze fest. "Look," Miss Blake shouted, peering through her binoculars. "A red-billed nuthatch. A bird is a bird, if you ask me. You've seen one bird. You've seen 'em all." "I hope we see a snake," said Michael. "Snakes are cool." "What would you do if you saw a snake?" Ryan asked. "I'd punch its face in," I said. After 5 minutes of hiking, I was bored. Nature is way overrated. We were in the middle of nowhere. Footnote, it would be cool if there was a town called Nowhere. Then you could go to the middle of it. Nobody ever goes to the edge of nowhere. This looks like a place where we started, said Neil. This looks like the place where we started, said Neil. That's because we hiked a big loop, barked Miss Blake. What? So we walked 1,100,000 miles in a circle? What was the point of that? If you're going to hike, you should hike someplace different. This looks like a good spot to set up camp, said Miss Blake. Let's pitch our tents here. Why would you want to throw a tent? That made no sense at all. Where do you think Miss Blake got these tents? Ryan asked. From Rent a Tent, I told him. You can rent anything. Ryan and I put up our tent together, while Miss Blake tied a string across 2 long sticks and stuck the sticks into the ground. Then she told us to gather up some wood. Are we going to build a fire? Asked Andrea. No, we're going to build 2 fires, said Miss Blake. She tied another string across 2 sticks and stuck them into the dirt. Next to the first ones, one for the boys and one for the girls. Who can tell me what you need to start a fire? Lighter fluid, I shouted. No, said Miss Blake. Lighter fluid is for wimps. Feel air and heat, shouted Andrea, who remembers everything she ever heard, saw, or read. That's right, said Miss Blake. You have air all around you, of course. I'll give the boys' team and the girls' team 3 napkins. That's your feel. You get 1 match to provide heat. Each team will build their fire under a rope. The first team to break their rope with the flame is the winner. Yes, boys against girls. Beating Andrea would be fun. I know how to build a fire, Andrea told Emily and Alexia. We should carefully make a frame out of sticks, and then lighten napkins at the bottom. They're wasting their time, I whispered to the guys. Just light the napkins and start piling sticks on top. Our fire will burn faster and we'll beat the girls. Ryan lit the match. Michael held the napkins on the ground. Neil and I put thin sticks on top of the napkins. Then they started to catch fire. Burn, 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 we chanted as we piled more sticks on top. Our fire was getting bigger. The girls finally finished building their dumb stack of sticks and lit it. The flame shot up so it almost as high as ours. Our fire got higher. So did the girls' fire in a few minutes. The flames were almost up to the 2 ropes. You couldn't tell which rope was going to break first. You should have been there. There was electricity in the air. Well, not exactly. It was just fire. If there was electricity in the air, we would have been electrocuted. But we were all on the edge of our seats. Well, not really. There are no seats in the forest. But it was exciting. Both flames are licking the ropes. Burn, 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 everybody chanted. Smoke was coming off the ropes. Both of the ropes were burning. Burn, burn, burn. And then the girls' rope broke. No! A second later, our rope broke. Yay! Shouted all the girls. Boo! Shouted all the boys. Chapter 8. The universe is boring. I had to admit the girls won the campfire contest fair and square. When both fires died down a little, Miss Blake got hot dogs from her backpack and we cooked them. Yum! Then she got out a bag of marshmallows for us to toast. Double yum! I ate so many marshmallows I thought I was going to throw up. It was the best. It was the greatest night of my life. It was getting dark out. Miss Blake said she was going to rest in her tent, but we could spread out our sleeping bags on the ground and talk for a while. We were all lying on our backs looking at the sky. It was filled with stars, and it was weirdly quiet. There were no cars, no TVs, no noise. Isn't this peaceful? Said Emily. Yeah, everybody replied. What do you see when you look up at the stars? Asked Andrea. I see stars, said Ryan. Maybe we'll see a shooting star, said Michael. Just think, said Andrea. Those stars are billions of miles away. If the sun exploded, we wouldn't know it for 8 minutes. That's how long it would take the light to reach our eyes. I'm scared, said Emily. The universe is so big, said Alexia. Where do you think it ends? Asked Neil. Nobody knows, said Ryan. Maybe it never ends, said Michael. It can't go on forever, said Andrea. It's got to end somewhere. What a snooze fest. All this talk about the universe was boring. Ghost stories are cool, way cooler than talking about the universe. I'm scared, said Emily. Don't be scared, said Andrea. Ghost stories are just stories. They're not real. I'll start, I said, sitting up so everybody could see me. I picked up my flashlight and held it under my chin, pointing up at my face. Okay, I said, here's the story. There was this boy. Yeah, everybody said. Footnote, anytime you hold a flashlight under your chin in the dark, it looks like you're crazy. That's the first rule of being a kid. I told you there are plenty of rules of being a kid, and I'm telling the truth. And he was out in the woods on the overnight, I said, lowering my voice to a whisper, like us. Yeah, and it was pitch dark, just like now. Yeah? What happened next? Asked Andrea. A ghost came along and murdered him, I said. The end. That's your story? Asked Andrea. It's a short story, I told her. I cut out all the boring parts. Dude, the ghost story was lame, I said. Said Michael. I said that if nobody liked my ghost story, they could sell a ghost story of their own. And somebody would have. But that's when the weirdest thing in his history of the world happened. There was a noise behind us. He turned around. It was a bear. Chapter 9. Bear Attack. So guys, I'm going to end this video right here because I want to go to sleep. And I'll continue reading tomorrow. So guys, bye. See you next time. And please subscribe to me and Jenna, which her channel is Jenna Trong. And I hope you enjoyed this.